back to my channel. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about because, as I mentioned before, the NFL is back, things are happening, things are moving, and I just wanted to make a video to talk about three things that I'm seeing and three things that really caught my attention because I think it's fascinating how things are starting to happen and what people are starting to talk about. One of the things that really concerns me as this starts to happen is that I feel like we almost get information overload. We get the schedule, we get this, we get that. We're hearing about deals, we're hearing about contracts, we're hearing about June 1st designation. Like we're hearing about all of these like different things. And so I wanted to almost talk about some things that I've noticed that I'm paying a lot of attention to right now. And so my mic is back. So I'm trying to do better at like moving because I'm a very dynamic speaker. I can't help it. And so here's some things I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about how much the NFL cares about their players, how much the NFL cares about player safety, how much they invest in player safety, and how concerned they are with player safety. And every single thing that they're doing is for player safety, to protect the players because they love the players so much and they want them to be protected. That is not true. That is a lie. I don't care what the NFL says. The things that they are doing and the things that they want to do and the ways that they're hoping to make money have absolutely nothing to do with player safety. It has every single thing to do with making more money and expanding their game. And I want to be honest and say, as a businesswoman, I totally understand you wanting to make money. And I totally understand about you wanting to expand your business and things like that. What I don't like is that they try to lie to us and tell us that they care, they care. But at the same time, while they care, they're also trying to work these players harder and do all these different things. So, which leads me to my first thing that I want to talk about. So the very first thing I want to talk about is the 18 game schedule. I think it's inevitable that the NFL is going to go to an 18 games or to an 18 game schedule. I think that they're just trying to find a way to do it. And to be honest, they're probably trying to find the cheapest way to do it. I have some thoughts about this. I don't mind them going to 18 games. I'm a fan. I want to see them play 18 games. That would be phenomenal. Like bring on the 18 games. What I hope happens is if they go to 18 games, I hope they have a 20-week season. And I hope from the 20-week season that each team gets 2 bye weeks. And here's, I guess, my kind of thought process along this is I feel like if you give the team 2 bye weeks, you're basically saying like, yeah, we do care about your safety, but I think you also get better football if you have them have 2 bye weeks. And the reason being is because they can have like an early bye week and a late bye week. And so for those teams that are like going to the playoffs and doing certain things, that gives more time and a better advantage to hopefully allow some players to come back and for teams to have a better playoff run. So the way that I would structure it is I would have a designation for, let's just say the NFL has, so if you have 20 weeks, you would have bye weeks 4 through 8. And so for the weeks 4 through 8, people go on their bye week, they do whatever they do. Great, sounds good. And then you also have bye weeks week 13 through week 17. And if I think about it, and I probably will, I will put a visual up to describe the next thing that I'm going to say. But basically it is, you will get a bye week between weeks 4 and 8, and then you will get another bye week in between weeks 13 and 17. If they do it this way, what it basically means is if you get a bye week on week 4, let's just say, then your next bye week will be week 13. So it's basically mirror imaging of everybody gets the exact same kind of rotation of when your bye week is, when your bye week isn't. And it's consistent. Everybody plays the same amount of games from one bye week to the next bye week. It keeps it easy. It keeps it consistent. The other thing I think that this does also is it just keeps if you go to 20 weeks and you give them 2 bye weeks, I think that that's a perfect concession to make for these athletes. I also think the athletes need to come together and they need to fight to be paid for all 20 weeks. I think they should also come in and say, okay, well, what does that mean for the preseason? How is the preseason going to operate now if we expand and we play 18 games? This leads me to the second thing that's kind of being talked about right now, depending on who you ask, is all of this international travel. As I said at the beginning, I totally understand they want to expand the game. They want to have more games. They want to play more games. They want the NFL to get bigger. They want the NFL to grow. I understand that. However, the NFL growing should not come off the sacrifice and backs of some of these players and their health and risking their bodies to go out there and play this game. And so while I understand all of this traveling, while I understand the need for total domination, I think in a lot of times in big business, we always forget about the people that are actually doing the work. And in this instance, we're forgetting about the players. And so I got it. You want to go to Germany, you want to go to Brazil, you want to go to all these places, right? That sounds fantastic. However, how are we making sure that the players are okay and they're recovering from this? For example, I believe on the Friday, the first week of the season on Friday, the Eagles are going to Brazil on the very first week of the season. So you're already sending them somewhere else. So that's a long flight for them to get there. They have to play the game and then come home, which is fine. And then they have to get ready to play the next Sunday because the next game is starting. Or worst case scenario, in a weird way, you have them play on a Friday and then they come back and they play on a Monday night. But when you play on a Monday night, now your week is shorter for your Sunday week. So my whole point in saying this is, again, just like the NFL is so concerned about player safety and they're doing all these things to keep players safe and all the lies that they're trying to tell us, the reality is I am questioning how much of what they're doing is actually helping with player safety. Spoiler alert, a lot of it is not. I don't care how first class you fly. I've had some amazing flights. I've flown first class across the world. I've taken a lot of amazing vacations. It doesn't matter how you fly. When you fly and you get off that plane and you have to walk off the soreness, the jet lag, and all of those things, it wear and tears on your body. And they know this in the NFL. They don't care. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if we're going to do this, at least the least that they could do is make this okay for the players and make the players, give the players some advantages when it comes to taking care of yourself and really caring about them and showing compassion. Is the NFL going to do this? Absolutely not. But as a fan, I'm just vocalizing some things that I wish that they could do. I do want to say this is a great time to say, listen, NFL players, if you all would band together and go against these owners and set out for a period of time, I will 100% back you and fight for these things that you want. Fight for better things. Fight for guaranteed contracts. Fight for more things, because if they're making you do more and play more, you're the one who's sacrificing. So fight for the things that you want. And listen, as a fan, I will hate not watching football, but I will be here. So the NFL is not going to do it for you because they don't care about you and your bodies and your safety. They really just don't care. Let's just call it what it is. So if the players banded together, I think that they can make a lot of these things happen. So that's all I wanted to say about that. The other cool thing I wanted to talk about in the tail end of this, because this was going around Twitter, and I was actually kind of interested in seeing people's reactions to this graphic that I'm going to display, because I happen to agree with the graphic. I actually agree with the graphic. I think everything on the graphic rings true. I actually feel like the way that they outline these teams, I think it's real. And so I'm going to display the graphic, and then I'm going to look at the graphic through my iPad so that I can actually talk about the things that I'm seeing. So listen, I do agree with all the contenders. I agree with the Ravens, with the Bills, the Bengals. I even agree with the Cowboys. I feel like every year we say the Cowboys are loaded. The Cowboys have a good roster. I agree with the Lions for what we saw with Green Bay. I agree. The Texans looked amazing. Kansas City, obviously. The Dolphins always find a way to choke, but it doesn't mean that they're not good. And then the Eagles, and then San Francisco. I agree with all the contenders. I 100% agree. I even agree with the no man's land. And I think the no man's land is interesting because I think some of these teams, you would think they're not on here, but if you actually take time and take a deep breath and actually look at these teams, the Falcons are not rebuilding. The Browns aren't rebuilding. The Jaguars aren't rebuilding. The Chargers aren't. They're kind of rebuilding, I think. The Rams, if you look at this no man's land, we are in no man's land. Listen, I'm a Steelers fan. As a Steelers fan, we are kind of in no man's land. We could either be a contender very fast, or we could be like, wait, this isn't working. Obviously, we have quarterbacks. Obviously, we're a little bit more stable than some of the teams in the no man's land. But I don't think that we're necessarily contenders yet. I haven't seen that. I don't think we're rebuilding. I think we're in a little bit of no man's land. It's kind of a pick 'em. It's like you can move either way. If we if we end up being in contenders, I don't think anybody would be surprised. But then if we end up being in no man's land, I don't think anybody would be surprised. Or if we go into full rebuild mode, I don't want to say I don't think people will be surprised, but I can see that as a Steelers fan. I can see that. Do I want to be that? No, but I can see that. And then you go over to the rebuilding. I think the Cardinals are rebuilding. I think the Panthers are rebuilding. I think the Bears are rebuilding. I think Denver's rebuilding. I think the Colts are rebuilding. I think the Raiders are rebuilding. The Patriots, the Giants, the Titans, the Commanders. Like, I think this list is actually spot on. So I don't know why this triggered so many people, because I actually agree with this. I think one thing that I realized, though, when I saw this is I think people naturally jump to worst case scenario when they see their team in a place where they don't actively see their team. And because they don't see their team in the place that they're actually at, it creates some resistance. But I actually think that this list is spot on. I think this list is actually perfect. Could I move a team or two? I mean, maybe, but on first look of this list, I think this list looks pretty good. And so I don't know why people on Twitter are so pissed, except for the fact that they're not being realistic about their teams. And I'm working on something that will start to roll out next week. And I think that based on what is happening, I think a lot of fans will kind of agree with this list. I also just want to mention, this is a preseason list. And I think if you look at where these teams are currently, I think this is right. And I also just want to mention a team that's in no man's land and a team that is in rebuilding. You can go anywhere from that. You can go up to contention, or you can just kind of stay where you're at. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So it's interesting to me just to see the different reactions, to see how people are feeling, because I actually happen to think that this is a really good list. And I think that it was thorough. And I think that I can make a case for every single team on this list where they're located. So I don't know. You all let me know in the comments below if you feel like, if you think a team that is on this list or the way that it's structured is incorrect, let me know. I think the middle of the picture stated exactly where I got this information. And so that's tagged. So if you want to go follow this on Twitter and see what people are saying on Twitter, but like, I actually think this list is spot on, and I actually agree with the list. So anyways, I would love to know what you think in the comments below. I also just want to say, if you happen to be a Patriots fan, a Seattle Seahawks fan, or a LA Rams fan, reach out to me, find me some way, shape, or form. I have a question for you. Or if you know somebody that happens to be a Rams fan, a Seattle fan, or a Patriots fan, like, reach out to me. I'm working on something that's going to be cool that will be released starting next week. But I would love the chance to talk to one of those fans because I have a couple of questions that I need to ask them. But other than that, like, what do you think about this list? What do you think about this list? What do you think about going to a 20-week season? What do you think about my proposal of going to a 20-week season, 2 bye weeks, with having 18 games? I know some players have already said this. I'm not acting like I came up with this plan, but what I am saying is a way that we can structure it so it works. And so football keeps churning and things keep moving. But it's a little bit fair and a little bit consistent. And it's kind of funny I said fair and consistent, because we all know, like, in the sports world, half these things are not fair and consistent. But it is my attempt to give out information on what I think should happen in a way that I think that we should fix it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. If you love this, hate this, would love to know what you think about the 20 weeks. And I would love to know what you think about the way that I've structured the schedule. If you have any thoughts, if you don't have any thoughts, just like, share, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because but very soon there'll be a lot more content about NFL, some things happening in the NFL. And so, yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching.